You need to stay awake. Please, you have to stay awake. The little girl's voice cracked as she pressed her small hands against the man's bleeding head. Blood seeped through her fingers, warm and sticky. The leather-clad biker's eyes flickered, his breathing shallow and ragged. Kid, run, he whispered, his voice barely audible over the distant hum of traffic on Route 9. I'm Hell's Angels. Dangerous. Go. But Maya did not move. At 8 years old, she had made a choice that would change everything. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this story, please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Stay with me until the very end. You won't believe what happens next. And comment below with your city so I can see how far this story has traveled. Now let's get back to Maya's incredible journey. The crash had happened so fast. One moment Maya was walking home, her pink backpack bouncing against her shoulders, thinking about the spelling test she'd aced that morning. The next moment, the world exploded with the screech of tires and the violent crunch of metal against asphalt. Her heart had lurched into her throat. Oh my God, she breathed, her feet frozen to the dusty shoulder of Route 9. The motorcycle lay on its side 50 feet ahead, its front wheels still spinning uselessly. Black smoke curled from the engine, and there, sprawled in the gravel like a broken doll, was a man in a leather vest covered with patches she couldn't read from this distance. Maya's mother's voice echoed in her head. Never approach strangers, never talk to bikers. They're dangerous people, Maya, promise me. She'd promised, but her feet were already moving. Hello, Maya called out, her voice small against the vast California landscape. The golden hills stretched endlessly around her, indifferent to the tragedy unfolding on this lonely stretch of road. Are you okay? Stupid question. Of course he wasn't okay. As she got closer, she could see the extent of it. His left leg was twisted at an unnatural angle. Blood pooled beneath his head, dark and gleaming in the late afternoon sun. His face was pale, almost gray, and his eyes were closed. Mr. Maya dropped to her knees beside him, her backpack sliding off her shoulders. Mister, can you hear me? His eyes snapped open. They were blue, startlingly blue, and filled with pain and something else. Fear, maybe, or anger. Get away! He rasped, his voice like gravel scraping against concrete. You're bleeding really bad, Maya said, her hands hovering uselessly above him. She didn't know what to do. Her mom had taught her to call 911 in emergencies, but her phone was at home. They couldn't afford a cell phone for an 8-year-old. I need to help you. No. He tried to lift his hand, but it fell back to the ground. Listen to me, kid. Run. I'm Hell's Angels. You understand Hell's Angels. Dangerous. Maya had heard of them. Everyone in California had heard of them. Her mother's boyfriend had once pointed out a group of bikers at a gas station and told her to stay in the car, his voice tight with tension. Those are Hell's Angels, Maya. You see those vests? You see those patches? You stay away from them. They're criminals. But looking at this man now bleeding and broken on the side of the road, all Maya could see was someone who needed help. I don't care, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. You should. Well, I don't. Maya shrugged off her denim jacket, the one her grandmother had given her for her birthday, and pressed it against the gash on his head. He groaned, his whole body tensing. Sorry, but you're bleeding a lot. I have to stop it. Your jacket, he mumbled. It's okay. Grandma can get me another one. That wasn't true. Grandma had saved up for months for that jacket, but Maya pushed the thought away. What's your name, Reaper? Maya blinked. That's not a real name. It's my road name. A ghost of a smile crossed his lips, then vanished as pain contorted his features. Real name's Michael, but nobody calls me that. Not anymore. I'm Maya. She kept pressure on his head wound, even though the blood was soaking through her jacket, warm and terrible against her palms. You have to stay awake, okay, Reaper Michael? Which one should I use, Reaper? He coughed and blood flecked his lips. Michael's dead. Been dead. Long time. Well, Reaper's not going to die today either, Maya said firmly. I won't let you. He laughed, actually laughed, though it came out wet and painful. Brave little thing. How old are you? 8. 8. He closed his eyes. Got a daughter. She was 8 last time I saw her. Open your eyes. Maya's voice rose sharp with panic. You have to keep them open. That's what they always say on TV. Don't go to sleep. Bossy, Reaper muttered, but his eyes opened again. You remind me of her. Sarah. My Sarah. Where is she now? Gone. Does talk to me. Hasn't in 6 years. The pain in his voice was different now, deeper, older. Not physical. Her mother took her. Said I was bad influence. Said bikers aren't fathers. Just outlaws. Maya's chest tightened. That's sad. Yeah. Reaper's breathing was getting shallower. Yeah, it is. What happened? Why doesn't she talk to you? I chose the club. Always chose the club. His eyes drifted closed again, when I should have chosen her. Reaper. Maya shook his shoulder gently. Stay with me. Tell me more about Sarah. What does she look like? Blonde like her mother. Blue eyes like me. A tear slid down his temple, mixing with the blood and dirt. Smart. So damn smart. Wanted to be a veterinarian. Loved animals. More than people. That's cool, Maya said even as her own eyes burned with tears. Her jacket was completely soaked now. She could feel his blood drying on her hands, sticky and cold. I want to be a doctor, a trauma surgeon. I want to help people who get hurt. You're doing pretty good job already. I'm scared, Maya admitted, her voice breaking. I'm really, really scared. Me too, kid. Me too. That honest admission somehow made Maya feel a little better. If he was scared, then it was okay for her to be scared too. They could be scared together. I need to get help, Maya said, looking around desperately. The road was empty. No cars had passed since the crash. But I don't want to leave you alone. Have to. No choice. What if you die while I'm gone? Reaper's hand moved shaking until it found hers. His fingers were thick and calloused, covered in faded tattoos. Won't die, not yet. Promise, can't. Promise that. Yes, you can. Maya stuck out her pinky finger, holding it in front of his face. Pinky promise. You can't break a pinky promise. That's like a rule. Reaper stared at her finger for a long moment. Then slowly, painfully, he lifted his hand and hooked his pinky around hers. Pinky promise, he whispered. Maya squeezed tight. Okay, I'm going to find help. But you have to stay awake. Talk to yourself. Sing a song, I don't care. Just don't go to sleep. What? Song? I don't know. Any song. Maya was already standing, her legs shaking beneath her. The alphabet, happy birthday. Just keep making noise so I know you're still alive when I come back. She ran. Her feet pounded against the asphalt, her breath coming in harsh gasps. The nearest house was at least a mile back, maybe more. She'd passed it on her walk home from school, a small ranch house set back from the road with a rusted pickup truck in the driveway. Behind her, she could hear Reaper's voice, rough and off-key, singing something that might have been a Johnny Cash song. Or maybe he was just groaning in rhythm. Either way, the sound of it pushed her forward. Her lungs burned. Her legs screamed. But Maya didn't slow down. The house appeared around a bend, and Maya nearly sobbed with relief. She stumbled up the gravel driveway and hammered on the front door with both fists. Help! Please, someone help! No answer. Please. Maya tried the doorknob. Locked. She ran around to the back door. Also locked. No, no, no. Then she saw a payphone mounted on the side of a gas station across the road. She'd forgotten that old place was even there, half hidden behind a stand of eucalyptus trees. Maya sprinted across Route 9 without looking, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst through her chest. She grabbed the receiver and punched 911. Nothing. She tried again. Still nothing. Work, work, work! Maya slammed the receiver against the box, tears streaming down her face now. On the third try, blessed static crackled through the line, followed by a ringing tone. 911, what's your emergency? There's been a motorcycle accident on Route 9. Maya's words tumbled out in a rush. Near mile marker 47, a man is hurt really bad. He's bleeding from his head and his leg is broken, and he's a Hell's Angel, but I don't care, he needs help. Slow down, sweetheart. You said Route 9 near mile marker 47. Yes, please hurry, he's dying. We're sending an ambulance now. Are you with the injured person? No, I ran to find a phone. I have to go back to him. Wait, don't. Maya slammed the receiver down and ran. Her side ached with a stitch that felt like a knife between her ribs, but she pushed through it. What if he'd stopped singing? What if he died while she was gone? What if she'd broken her promise? She heard it before she saw him. Reaper's voice weaker now, but still, they're still fighting. Because you're mine. I walked the line. Maya dropped to her knees beside him, gasping for air. I'm back. The ambulance is coming. Reaper's eyes opened unfocused. Thought you weren't coming back. I promised, didn't I? Maya grabbed her blood-soaked jacket and pressed it against his head again. The bleeding had slowed, but it hadn't stopped. And you promised you wouldn't die. Trying to keep my promise. Good, because I'm not very good at breaking rules, and I really don't want to start with pinky promises. That got another weak laugh from him. Where'd you find a phone? Old old gas station. The payphone barely worked. I thought I was gonna have to break a window at a house or something. Breaking and entering, at 8 years old, would have made a good biker. My mom would kill me. The words came out before Maya could stop them, and suddenly she realized what she'd done. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. My mom's going to be so worried. I'm supposed to be home by 4. She glanced at the sun lower in the sky now. It had to be past 4:30, maybe even 5. She'll understand, Reaper said. You don't know my mom. Maya's hands were shaking again. She's going to ground me forever. Or worse, she's going to be so scared that something happened to me, and I hate when she's scared. She gets this look on her face like the world is ending. Tell her, you saved a life. Mother's like hearing that. She's also going to freak out when she finds out you're a Hell's Angel. Yeah, probably. Reaper's eyes drifted towards his motorcycle still lying on its side. Bikes? Totaled. I'm sorry. Not your fault. Gravel? Lost control. He coughed again, harder this time. Should have been more careful. What were you doing out here? Riding, thinking, trying to figure out how to fix things with Sarah. Maya's heart squeezed. Maybe this is a sign that you should try harder. I mean, you almost died today. Don't you think that means something? Think it means I'm getting old. Reflexes aren't what they used to be. No, Maya insisted. I think it means you're supposed to do something different. Make different choices. You said you always chose the club instead of your daughter, right? So choose her this time. Reaper stared at her, something shifting in his eyes. You're very wise for 8 years old. My grandma says I have an old soul. Your grandma sounds smart. In the distance, finally, Maya heard the wail of sirens. Relief flooded through her so intensely that she almost collapsed right there on top of Reaper. Hear that they're coming. You're going to be okay. Because of you, Reaper said softly. Little angel. I'm not an angel. Angels don't get bloody and scared and almost cry. Yeah, they do. The real ones. Anyway. The ambulance screamed around the bend, lights flashing. 2 paramedics jumped out, followed by a police officer. Maya scrambled backward, giving them room, suddenly aware of how she must look, covered in blood. Her clothes ruined, her hands shaking. Are you injured? One of the paramedics, a woman with kind eyes and gray hair pulled back in a ponytail, knelt beside Maya. No, it's his blood. I was just trying to help. You did great, sweetheart. What's your name? Maya. I'm Susan. Can you tell me what happened? Maya explained everything while Susan and her partner worked on Reaper, the crash, finding him calling 911. The police officer took notes, his expression grave. You said he's a Hell's Angel, the officer asked. That's what he told me, but he was hurt, so I helped him anyway. The officer's jaw tightened, but he nodded. You did the right thing. They loaded Reaper onto a stretcher. He was unconscious now, his face slack. Maya's stomach twisted with fresh fear. Is he going to be okay? She asked Susan. We're going to do everything we can, Susan said, which wasn't really an answer. He made a promise, a pinky promise. He can't break it. Susan's expression softened. Then I'll make sure we keep him to it. They lifted the stretcher into the ambulance. Maya stood there useless and small, watching them work. Maya, Susan called from the back of the ambulance. What's his name? We need it for the hospital. Reaper, but his real name is Michael. I don't know his last name. Reaper's enough. The hospital will know who he is. Susan hesitated. You should be proud of yourself. You saved his life today. Then they were gone, sirens screaming back to life as the ambulance pulled away. The police officer, his name tag read Martinez, walked Maya to his patrol car. I need to take you home. Your parents must be worried sick. Just my mom. And yeah, she's probably losing her mind right now. Officer Martinez smiled slightly. I'll explain everything to her. The drive home took less than 10 minutes, but it felt like hours. Maya stared out the window at the familiar landscape, the golden hills, the scattered houses, the endless sky, and tried to process what had just happened. She'd saved someone's life. She'd held a stranger's hand while he bled. She'd made a promise to a Hell's Angel. Her mom was going to absolutely lose it. The apartment complex came into view, and sure enough, Maya spotted her mother standing in the parking lot, her phone pressed to her ear, her face pale with panic. Mom. Maya was out of the patrol car before Officer Martinez had even put it in park. Maya. Her mother Carmen, small and fierce with dark hair and worried eyes, ran toward her. Then she saw the blood. Oh my God, Maya, what happened? Are you hurt? I'm okay, Mom, it's not my blood. Then whose? Officer Martinez cleared his throat. Mrs. Rodriguez, your daughter is a hero. Carmen's eyes snapped to him. What? There was a motorcycle accident on Route 9. Maya found the victim and rendered aid until paramedics arrived. She saved his life. Maya watched her mother's face cycle through about 17 different emotions in 3 seconds. Relief, pride, anger, fear, confusion, and back to anger. You stopped to help a stranger, Carmen's voice was tight. Maya, we've talked about this. He was dying, Mom. You could have been killed. What if there had been other cars? What if he had been dangerous? He was dangerous, Maya said quietly. He's a Hell's Angel, but he needed help. The color drained from Carmen's face. A Hell's Angel. He was nice, Mom. He told me about his daughter. Her name is Sarah, and she doesn't talk to him anymore, and it makes him really sad. And he made a pinky promise that he wouldn't die. Carmen opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. No words came out. Officer Martinez stepped in. Your daughter showed tremendous courage today, Mrs. Rodriguez. What she did was brave and compassionate. You should be very proud. I am proud, Carmen said, her voice cracking. I'm also terrified. I'm sorry I scared you, Mom. Maya's own tears finally spilled over. But I couldn't just leave him there. I couldn't. Carmen pulled her into a fierce hug, not caring about the blood. You're grounded for a month for scaring me like that. And you're also getting extra ice cream for being the bravest person I know. We'll figure out which one takes priority later. Can I be grounded and eat ice cream at the same time, Bentburn? Always die Beute is someone. Probably. Carmen pulled back, cupping Maya's face in her hands. Let's get you cleaned up, and then you're going to tell me everything. Officer Martinez left after confirming their contact information, promising to follow up if they needed Maya's statement for any reports. Carmen led Maya upstairs to their small apartment, running a bath and helping her out of her ruined clothes. Grandma's jacket is destroyed, Maya said miserably, looking at the blood-stiffened denim. Grandma will understand. Carmen scrubbed dried blood from Maya's hands, her touch gentle, despite the tension in her shoulders. Tell me about him. This Reaper person. So Maya did. She told her mother everything. The crash, the blood, the fear in his eyes, the story about Sarah, the pinky promise. She told her about running for help, about the payphone that barely worked, about how scared she'd been that he would die before the ambulance arrived. Carmen listened, her face unreadable. You think I did something bad? Maya said finally. No. Carmen shook her head. I think you did something impossibly brave and impossibly dangerous, and I don't know how to feel about that. You're 8 years old, Maya. 8. You shouldn't have to make decisions about life and death. But I did, and I'd do it again. I know you would. That's what scares me. Carmen dried Maya's hands carefully. You have the biggest heart of anyone I've ever met. But the world isn't always kind to people with big hearts. Mom? Yeah. Do you think he's going to be okay, Reaper? I don't know, baby. I hope so. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the afternoon. Reaper's blue eyes filled with pain and something like wonder. His rough voice singing Johnny Cash. The weight of his hand when he'd hooked his pinky around hers. Promise me you won't die. Pinky. Promise. She prayed something she rarely did, even though Grandma had taken her to church a few times, that he would keep that promise. Maya didn't know it then, but across town in a hospital room surrounded by machines that beeped and hummed, Reaper was fighting to keep it. And in a clubhouse on the outskirts of town, the phone rang. Bull, the current president of the Hells Angels California chapter, answered it. The conversation was brief. When he hung up, his expression was grave. "Reaper's down," he announced to the room full of bikers. "Motorcycle accident on Route 9, critical condition." The room erupted in questions, anger, concern. Bull raised his hand for silence. "There's more. A little girl found him, 8 years old. She stayed with him, stopped the bleeding, called 911, saved his life." The room went quiet. "An 8-year-old kid saved Reaper?" someone asked incredulously. "That's what the cops told the hospital. They're calling her a hero." Bull's jaw clenched. "We owe her a debt." One of the older members, a man named Whiskey Pete with a gray beard down to his chest, spoke up. "The code is clear. She saved one of ours. The club protects her." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room. "Find out where she lives," Bull said. "We pay our debts, always." Maya woke to the sound of thunder. At least that's what she thought. It was deep, rolling, continuous thunder that shook the windows of their second-floor apartment. She blinked at her alarm clock. 6:30 in the morning. Saturday. She should still be asleep. The thunder grew louder. "What is that?" Maya stumbled out of bed, her heart already racing with a nameless anxiety. Through her bedroom window, she could see the parking lot below, and what she saw made her freeze. Motorcycles, dozens of them. Maybe more than dozens. "Mom!" Maya's voice came out as a squeak. She tried again, louder. "Mom!" Carmen burst through the bedroom door, her hair still messy from sleep, her eyes wide. "What's wrong? Are you?" She stopped when she saw Maya pointing at the window. They both looked down. The parking lot was filled with bikers. They sat on their motorcycles' engines, rumbling in unison, creating that thunder Maya had heard. More bikes were pulling in, forming neat rows like some kind of military formation. The men wore leather vests covered in patches, bandanas, sunglasses, despite the early hour. "Oh God," Carmen whispered. "Oh God, Maya, get away from the window." But Maya couldn't move. She was counting. 20 bikes, 30, 40. They kept coming, pulling into the parking lot, into the street, filling every available space. "Why are they here?" Maya's voice trembled. Carmen grabbed her shoulders, pulling her back from the window. "I don't know, but we're calling the police right now." "Wait." Maya twisted free, pressing her face back against the glass. "Look, that one in front. He's getting off his bike." A massive man dismounted from a gleaming black Harley at the head of the formation. He was built like a bear, broad shoulders, thick arms covered in tattoos, a gray beard that reached his chest. He removed his sunglasses and looked directly up at Maya's window. Their eyes met. The man raised his hand in what might have been a wave, or a signal. "Mom, I think they're here for me." "That's exactly why we're calling." A knock on the door. 3 sharp raps. Carmen and Maya froze, staring at each other. Another knock, more insistent this time. "Don't answer it," Carmen hissed, reaching for her phone. "Mrs. Rodriguez," a deep voice called through the door. "My name is Bull. I'm president of the Hells Angels California chapter. I need to speak with you and your daughter, Maya. We mean you no harm." Carmen's finger hovered over 911. "Go away, or I'm calling the police." "Ma'am, the police already know we're here. Called them myself 30 minutes ago to let them know we'd be coming through. Didn't want any misunderstandings." In the pause. "We just want to talk. 5 minutes. That's all we're asking." "About what?" "About the debt we owe your daughter." Maya grabbed her mother's arm. "Please, Mom, let's just hear what they want." "Are you insane? There are dozens of bikers outside our apartment." 89, Bull called through the door. 89 of us, to be precise. 1 for each year our club has existed. We brought everyone we could gather on short notice. Carmen looked at Maya, her face pale. "This is because of yesterday, because you helped that man." "His name is Reaper," Maya said. "Is he okay?" "Please, is Reaper okay?" Silence from the other side of the door. Then, "He's alive because of your daughter, Mrs. Rodriguez. The doctors said another 10 minutes and he would have bled out. She saved his life." Carmen's hand shook as she lowered the phone. "If I open this door and anything happens to my daughter, you have my word, old lady code. Nothing will happen to either of you. We're here to honor a debt, not create problems." Old lady code. Carmen looked at Maya confused. Maya shrugged. She had no idea what that meant either. Carmen took a deep breath, checked the peephole, then slowly opened the door, keeping the chain lock engaged. Through the gap, Maya could see Bull even bigger up close with intelligent brown eyes and a scar running down his left cheek. 5 minutes, Carmen said. Thank you, ma'am. Bull stepped on back respectfully. Would it be all right if I brought one other person, our VP Whiskey Pete? He's been with the club for 40 years, helped write some of our codes. Carmen looked ready to say no, but Maya spoke up. It's okay, Mom. With obvious reluctance, Carmen unhooked the chain and opened the door wider. Bull entered first, ducking slightly to clear the doorframe. Behind him came an older man with a gray beard and kind eyes that crinkled at the corners. Whiskey Pete, presumably. Both men were enormous, making their small living room feel even tinier. Nice place, Bull said, glancing around. Homie. Cut to the chase, Carmen said, positioning herself between the men and Maya. What do you want? Bull's expression grew serious. Mrs. Rodriguez, yesterday, your daughter did something extraordinary. She found one of our brothers bleeding out on the side of the road, and instead of walking away, which would have been the smart thing, the safe thing, she stayed. She stopped his bleeding. She called for help. She refused to leave him, even when he told her to run. She's 8 years old, Carmen said tightly. She didn't know any better. She knew exactly what she was doing. Whiskey Pete said, his voice gravelly but warm. Reaper told us everything when he woke up this morning. How she pressed her jacket against his head. How she made him pinky promise not to die. How she ran for help and came back even though she was terrified. Maya's heart leaped. He woke up. He's really okay. Bull smiled at her, a genuine smile that transformed his intimidating face. He's going to be fine, little angel. Broken leg concussion, needed a lot of stitches, but he's going to make it because of you. I'm glad, Maya said softly. I was worried all night, which brings us to why we're here. Bull reached into his vest pocket and Carmen tensed. But what he pulled out wasn't a weapon. It was a small leather patch about the size of Maya's palm. In the Hells Angels, we have a code. When someone saves the life of one of our members, we owe them a debt. That debt must be repaid. We don't want money, Carmen said quickly. This isn't about money. Bull held out the patch. It showed a small angel with a halo wing spread, and beneath it the words protected in Gothic script. This is about protection. Your daughter is now under the protection of the Hells Angels California chapter. Anyone who threatens her, hurts her, or causes her problems answers to us. All 89 of us. Carmen stared at the patch like it might bite her. I don't understand. It means she's family now, Whiskey Pete explained. Not a member, she's way too young for that, and girls can't be patch members anyway. But she's protected. Like our old ladies are kids. She's ours to watch over. I don't want my daughter involved with the motorcycle club. Carmen's voice rose. No offense, but you're criminals. Everyone knows. We're not criminals. Bull interrupted, his tone firm, but not angry. We're a motorcycle club. Yeah, some clubs have members who break the law. Some of our own have made mistakes. But we're not a gang, Mrs. Rodriguez. We're brothers who ride together, look out for each other, and live by a code. A code that apparently includes showing up at someone's apartment with 89 bikers at 6:30 in the morning. Bull had the grace to look slightly sheepish. We wanted to make an impression, show Maya and you that we take this seriously. Well, you succeeded. I'm terrified. Don't be. Whiskey Pete's voice was gentle. Ma'am, I've got 3 daughters of my own, 2 granddaughters. If anyone saved one of my brothers, I'd want to do right by them. That's all this is. Carmen looked at Maya, then back at the patch Bull was still holding. What does this protection actually mean? It means if Maya ever needs help, any kind of help, she calls us, Bull said. Someone's bothering her at school. We have a conversation with their parents. Someone tries to hurt her. We handle it. Legal problems. We know lawyers. Medical emergency. We know doctors. She's got a whole family backing her up now. We already have family, Carmen said. Now you have more. Maya reached out and touched the patch. The leather was soft, worn. Can I see it? Bull placed it in her small hand. It's yours if you want it. No pressure. Your mom's right to be cautious. But I promise you, Maya, we just want to keep you safe. You did a brave thing yesterday, the kind of thing most adults wouldn't do. You deserve to be honored for that. Maya looked up at her mother. What do you think, Mom? Carmen's jaw worked. Can I talk to my daughter alone for a minute? Of course. Bull and Whiskey Pete moved toward the door. We'll wait outside. Take all the time you need. Once they were alone, Carmen knelt in front of Maya. Baby, this is serious. These men, they're not bad people, I don't think. But they're part of a world we don't understand. A world that could be dangerous. They just want to say thank you. By making you part of their club. That's not a simple thank you, Maya. That's a commitment, a connection. If you accept that patch, you're accepting everything that comes with it. Maya studied the patch. The little angel looked brave, she thought. Strong. Reaper told me about his daughter, Sarah. She doesn't talk to him anymore because he was always with the club instead of with her. He was really sad about it. Okay, but these men came here for me, all 89 of them. They could be anywhere else right now, but they came here to make sure I know I'm protected. That's not nothing, Mom. Carmen's eyes filled with tears. When did you get so wise? Grandma says I have an old soul, remember? Yeah. Carmen wiped her eyes. Okay. Okay, if this is what you want, we'll accept their protection. But I have conditions. Maya's face lit up. Really? Really, but I'm setting boundaries, clear ones. Carmen opened the door. Bull and Whiskey Pete turned their expressions hopeful. We'll accept the patch, Carmen said, but I have rules. Bull nodded. Name them. No involving Maya in club business, ever. She's a child. Agreed. No teaching her to ride motorcycles until she's at least 16 and only with my permission. Fair enough. No recruiting her. When she's an adult, she can make her own choices about who she associates with. But until then, this is just about protection. Nothing more. Absolutely. Carmen crossed her arms. And if I ever feel like this connection is putting her in danger instead of keeping her safe, we walk away. No arguments, no hard feelings. Bull extended his hand. You have my word, Mrs. Rodriguez, on my honor as president. Carmen shook at her hand, disappearing in his massive grip. Bull turned to Maya, kneeling down so he was at her eye level. What do you say? Little Angel want to be part of our family. Maya looked at the patch in her hand, then at the genuine warmth in Bull's eyes. Yes. Bull pinned the patch to her pajama shirt right over her heart. There, now it's official. You're protected. Can I meet them? Maya asked suddenly. All the other bikers. Carmen started to protest, but Bull laughed. I think they'd like that very much. They were all pretty curious about the brave little girl who saved Reaper. They went outside, Maya still in her pajamas, Carmen wrapping a cardigan around her shoulders against the morning chill. As soon as they appeared on the apartment stairs, engines cut off in a wave, silence falling over the parking lot. 89 faces turned toward them. Maya had never seen so many people looking at her at once. Her steps faltered. It's okay, Bull murmured. They're just people. Big tattooed people with loud bikes, but still just people. Whiskey Pete raised his voice. Brothers, this is Maya Rodriguez, the girl who saved Reaper's life. Applause erupted. Not polite golf claps, thunderous, genuine applause. Several bikers whooped. One man whistled. Maya felt her face turn red. Maya's under our protection now, Bull announced. Anyone got a problem with that? Hell no, someone shouted. She's one of ours now, another voice called. Little Angel. The nickname caught on instantly. Within seconds, a chant started. Little Angel, Little Angel, Little Angel. Maya looked up at her mother, overwhelmed. Carmen squeezed her hand. Bull raised his hands for silence. All right. Some of you brought gifts, I know. Keep it reasonable. She's 8. Gifts, Maya whispered. Whiskey Pete grinned. Did you think we'd show up empty-handed? What followed was surreal. A biker named Chains gave her a stuffed bear wearing a tiny leather vest. For when you need a riding buddy, he said with a wink. A woman, yes, there were women bikers too, named Rosie gave her a pink helmet. For when you're old enough to ride. Custom painted it myself. Someone named Tiny, who was actually enormous, handed Carmen an envelope. Medical bills. For anything Maya needs. It's already taken care of. Carmen tried to refuse, but Tiny shook his head. We take care of our own, ma'am, please. Another biker gave Maya a leather jacket in her size, soft and buttery. A third gave her a gift card to a bookstore. A fourth gave her a silver bracelet with a small angel charm. This is too much, Carmen kept saying, but the gifts kept coming. Finally, a younger biker, maybe in his 20s with kind eyes and a nervous smile, approached with a guitar case. I'm Strings, he said. I heard you like music. Reaper mentioned it. You told him to sing to stay awake. I do like music, Maya said. Well, I teach guitar. If you ever want to learn, lessons are free for family. Maya looked at the guitar case, then at Strings. Really, really? She turned to her mother with pleading eyes. Carmen sighed. We'll think about it. That's basically a yes. Maya threw her arms around Strings, who looked startled, but pleased. The morning dissolved into something Maya would remember for the rest of her life. The bikers took turns talking to her, asking about school, making her laugh with bad jokes. They were gentle with her, these enormous men with their scars and tattoos and rough voices. They treated her like something precious. Carmen watched it all with wary eyes, but even she started to relax when Whiskey Pete began telling stories about his granddaughters. The youngest one, Amy, she's about your age, he said, wants to be a paleontologist, knows more about dinosaurs than I know about motorcycles, and that's saying something. I want to be a trauma surgeon, Maya told him. No kidding, that's amazing. I want to help people who get hurt, like Reaper. Whiskey Pete's expression grew thoughtful. You know we could use someone like that. The club, I mean. We've got a few guys with medical training, but a real doctor. That would be something. That's years away, Carmen interjected. Of course, of course. I'm just saying when the time comes, she's got options. Around 9 o'clock, Bull called for everyone's attention again. All right, brothers, we've taken up enough of Maya's morning. Time to ride out. Groans of disappointment rippled through the crowd. Can I stay a little longer? Maya asked. Bull smiled. You'll see us again, little angel. We're not going anywhere, but your mama probably needs to get you some breakfast. That isn't just excitement. He was right. Maya's stomach was growling. The bikers mounted their motorcycles' engines, roaring to life once more. But before they left, Bull pulled Carmen aside. There's one more thing, he said quietly. Reaper wants to see Maya at the hospital, if that's all right with you. Carmen hesitated. I don't know. He's not dangerous, not to her. He just wants to say thank you properly. Mom, please, Maya said. She crept up beside them, listening. I want to see him too. I want to make sure he's really okay. Carmen looked between them. Fine, but I'm coming with you. Wouldn't have it any other way, Bull said. The motorcycles pulled out in formation, a river of chrome and leather flowing out of the parking lot. Neighbors had gathered on their balconies to watch their faces, a mix of fear and fascination. As the last bike rumbled away, silence fell. Carmen and Maya stood alone in the parking lot, surrounded by gifts. That happened, Carmen said faintly. That happened, Maya agreed. We now have 89 bikers who consider us family. Yep, your father is going to lose his mind when he finds out. Maya winced. She'd almost forgotten about her father, who lived in Arizona and called twice a month if they were lucky. Maybe we don't tell him. Oh, we're telling him. I can't wait to see his face. They gathered the gifts and headed back upstairs. Maya changed out of her pajamas while Carmen made breakfast, scrambled eggs and toast, simple but comforting. Mom, Maya said around a mouthful of eggs. Don't talk with your mouth full. Maya swallowed. Are you mad at me for yesterday? Carmen set down her fork. I'm not mad, baby. I'm scared. I'm scared because you did something incredibly brave and incredibly dangerous, and I can't decide which emotion is stronger, pride or terror. The bikers seem nice. They did. That's what scares me most. Carmen reached across the table, taking Maya's hand. I grew up being told to avoid people like that, to cross the street if I saw a biker. But those men this morning, they were kind, respectful. They clearly care about Reaper, and now they care about you. So what's scary about that? It means the world isn't as simple as I thought. It means I have to rethink everything I assumed about people based on how they look or what they wear. Maya squeezed her mother's hand. Grandma always says you can't judge a book by its cover. Grandma's a wise woman, Carmen smiled. Eat your breakfast. We're going to the hospital this afternoon. The hospital smelled like disinfectant and something else Maya couldn't identify, maybe sadness, maybe hope. They found Reaper's room on the third floor, and Carmen knocked softly before entering. Reaper lay in the hospital bed, his left leg in a cast elevated by a system of pulleys. Bandages wrapped around his head. His face was bruised yellowish purple spreading across his cheekbone. But his eyes were open, and when he saw Maya, they lit up. "Little angel," he said, his voice rough but stronger than yesterday. "You came. I had to make sure you kept your promise," Maya said, approaching the bed shyly. "Pinky promises are sacred. Couldn't break it even if I wanted to." He held out his hand, pinky extended. Maya hooked hers around it. "You're really okay." "Thanks to you." Reaper looked past her to Carmen. "Mrs. Rodriguez, thank you for bringing her." Carmen nodded stiffly. "You're welcome. I know you're probably not thrilled about all this, the club showing up at your place." "It was overwhelming," Carmen admitted, "but they were respectful." "That's Bull for you. He does things by the book." Reaper shifted in the bed, wincing. "Look, I know I'm probably the last person you want your daughter associated with. Hell's Angel recovering in a hospital because I wiped out on my bike like an idiot. Not exactly role model material." "You're not an idiot," Maya said firmly. "You hit gravel. It wasn't your fault." A small smile crossed Reaper's battered face. "You're something special, you know that." "That's what everyone keeps saying." "Because it's true." Reaper looked back at Carmen. "I want you to know I'm going to make something of what happened yesterday. Your daughter gave me a second chance at life. I'm not going to waste it." "What do you mean?" Carmen asked. "I'm calling my daughter, Sarah. Today if I can work up the courage. Maybe tomorrow if I chicken out." He laughed, but it sounded pained. "Maya asked me yesterday why Sarah doesn't talk to me anymore. I told her I always chose the club over her. Time to make a different choice." Maya's eyes widened. "You're really going to call her?" "I'm really going to try. No promises it'll work. She might hang up on me. Probably will, actually. But I have to try." "She won't hang up," Maya said with absolute certainty. "You're her dad. She misses you." "How do you know?" "Because if you were my dad and you called me after 6 years, I'd want to hear what you had to say. Even if I was mad, especially if I was mad." Reaper's eyes grew shiny. "God, you really do remind me of her." They talked for another 20 minutes. Reaper told him about the surgery on his leg, the physical therapy he'd need, the long recovery ahead. He told Maya about Sarah when she was 8, how she'd loved horses and wanted to be a veterinarian, how she'd made him watch the same movie about dolphins 17 times, how she'd cried when they found an injured bird and made him drive it to a wildlife rescue center an hour away. "She sounds wonderful," Maya said. "She was, is. God, I hope she still is." Reaper rubbed his face with his good hand. "I missed so much of her life. She's 14 now. 14. I don't even know what she looks like anymore. If she still likes horses, if she's still kind." "Call her and find out," Maya said simply. A nurse came in to check Reaper's vitals, giving Carmen and Maya a gentle hint that visiting hours were almost over. "We should go," Carmen said. Maya hugged Reaper carefully, mindful of his injuries. "Thank you for keeping your promise. Thank you for making me make it." He hugged her back with his good arm. "And Maya, when I do call Sarah, when not, if I'm going to tell her about you, about the brave little girl who saved her old man's life." "I'm not that brave." "Yeah, you are." In the car on the way home, Carmen was quiet. "What are you thinking about?" Maya asked. "Everything. How weird life is. How one decision can change everything." Carmen glanced at her daughter. "If you'd walked past him yesterday, if you'd kept going." "But I didn't." "No, you didn't." Carmen smiled. "My brave girl." That night, Maya lay in bed, wearing her new leather jacket over her pajamas, the angel patch pinned to her chest. She thought about Reaper in his hospital bed, gathering courage to call his daughter. She thought about Bull and Whiskey Pete and Strings and all the other bikers who'd shown up to protect her. She thought about how she'd been terrified yesterday, pressing her jacket against Reaper's bleeding head, convinced he was going to die despite her efforts. But he hadn't died. He'd kept his promise. And now Maya's life was different in ways she couldn't fully understand yet. She had 89 bikers who considered her family. She had a connection to a world her mother had always told her to avoid. She had made a difference. Maya fell asleep with a smile on her face, the angel patch cool against her heart, and dreamed of motorcycles and promises and second chances. 2 weeks passed before Maya saw Reaper again, and when she did, everything had changed. She was walking home from school, the same road, the same stretch of Route 9, when a motorcycle pulled up beside her. Not speeding, not aggressive, just slowly matching her pace. Maya's heart jumped into her throat until she recognized the rider. Reaper. He stopped the bike, pulling off his helmet. His face was still bruised, but healing, the bandages gone from his head. He wore a walking boot on his left leg instead of the full cast. "You're not supposed to be riding yet," Maya said, hands on her hips. "The doctor said 6 weeks minimum." Reaper laughed. "Been checking on me?" "Bull told my mom. She told me." Maya moved closer to the bike. "Seriously, you're going to hurt yourself again." "It's not my bike. Borrowed Whiskey Pete's. Automatic transmission, easier on the leg." He patted the seat behind him. "Want to ride home?" Maya looked down the empty road, then back at Reaper. "My mom would kill me." "What if I called her first? Ask permission." "You have her number." "Bull gave it to me for emergencies." Reaper pulled out his phone. "What do you say?" "Let me ask her. If she says no, I'll follow behind you at a respectful distance until you get home safe. If she says yes, you get your first motorcycle ride." Maya bit her lip. "Okay, call her." Reaper dialed, putting the phone on speaker. Carmen answered on the second ring. "Hello, Mrs. Rodriguez, this is Reaper. Michael from the hospital. I remember who you are. Is everything all right?" "Everything's fine. I'm here on Route 9 with Maya. She's walking home from school, and I wanted to offer her a ride, with your permission, of course." Silence on the other end. Maya could practically hear her mother's internal debate. "Mom, I'll wear a helmet," Maya called out, "and I'll hold on really tight." "You better," Carmen said finally. "Michael, if anything happens to her." "It won't. You have my word. I'll have her home in 5 minutes." 10 minutes. Take the long way. Let her enjoy it." Reaper's eyebrows shot up. "Yes, ma'am." "And Michael, thank you for asking permission first." He hung up, looking as surprised as Maya felt. "Your mom's cooler than I thought. She's been different lately. Ever since all the bikers showed up." Maya accepted the helmet Reaper pulled from his saddlebag. "She's been reading about motorcycle clubs. Trying to understand. That's more than most people do." Reaper helped her fasten the helmet, his hands gentle. "All right, little angel. Climb on behind me. Put your feet on those pegs. Hold on to my waist and lean with me when I lean." "Got it." Maya's hands shook as she climbed onto the bike. It felt huge beneath her powerful alive. She wrapped her arms around Reaper's waist, and he was solid and warm and real. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready." The engine rumbled to life, and Maya felt it in her bones. Then they were moving, and the world transformed. Wind rushed past her face. The road blurred beneath them. Her stomach swooped with a mixture of terror and pure joy. Reaper kept his promise. He took the long way home, cruising through streets Maya had never explored. He pointed out landmarks with quick gestures. The old mission church where Bull's Diciator had gotten married, the diner where the club met every Thursday morning for coffee, the garage where they worked on their bikes. Too soon they were pulling up to Maya's apartment complex. Carmen was waiting outside, her arms crossed, trying to look stern. But Maya saw the smile she was fighting. "That was amazing." Maya pulled off the helmet, her hair wild and staticky. "Mom, it was so cool. We went so fast, but not too fast, and I could feel everything and—" "Breathe, baby," Carmen said, but she was laughing now. Reaper dismounted carefully, favoring his injured leg. "She's a natural, didn't scream once. I wanted to, but I didn't want to seem scared. Being scared doesn't make you weak. Doing it anyway makes you brave." Reaper handed the helmet back to Maya. "Keep it. It's yours now." "Really, really?" "Had it custom painted. Look inside." Maya turned the helmet over. Inside, in silver script, it read, "Little Angel." Her throat tightened. "Thank you." "Thank you," Reaper said quietly, "for everything, for saving my life, for reminding me what matters." Carmen studied him. "Did you call her your daughter?" Reaper's whole demeanor shifted. His shoulders hunched slightly, and he wouldn't meet their eyes. "I tried, 3 times. She didn't pick up." "Did you leave a message?" Maya asked. "The first 2 times, no. I chickened out. The 3rd time yesterday I did." He rubbed the back of his neck. "Told her I was sorry. Told her I missed her. Told her about you, actually. About the little girl who saved me and made me want to be better." "What did she say?" "She hasn't called back yet. Probably won't." "She will," Maya insisted. You don't know that, little angel. Yes, I do, because you're trying. That means something. Reaper looked at her for a long moment. You know what, my therapist said something similar. You have a therapist, Carmen sounded surprised. Started seeing one last week. Bull set it up. Said if I was serious about changing my life, I needed to deal with my shit. Excuse my language. It's okay, Maya said. Dealing with your shit is important. Maya, Carmen's voice was sharp, but she was fighting another smile. That's what Reaper said. Reaper laughed, really laughed, and the sound was lighter than Maya had ever heard from him. I'm a terrible influence. You're not terrible, Maya said firmly. You're trying to be better. That's what counts. A phone rang. Reaper pulled his out, glanced at the screen, and went pale. What? Maya asked. Who is it? Unknown number. California area code. His hand shook. What if it's her? Then answer it, Maya and Carmen said simultaneously. Reaper stared at the phone like it might explode. It rang again. Third ring. Fourth. Answer it, Carmen said more gently. Whatever happens, at least you'll know. Reaper took a deep breath and swiped to accept the call. Hello. Maya watched his face cycle through emotions. Fear, hope, shock, joy, pain, more joy. Tears slid down his cheeks. Sarah, he whispered. God, Sarah, is it really you? He turned away, walking a few steps for privacy, but his voice carried back to them. I know I don't deserve. Yes, I got your text last Christmas. I just didn't. I was scared. I thought you hated me. A long pause. You have every right to be angry. I was a terrible father. Another pause longer. I want to try if you'll let me. His voice broke. I want to know you again. I want to be part of your life, if you'll have me. Maya grabbed her mother's hand, squeezing tight. Reaper listened for a long time. Then, next Saturday, yes, absolutely. Coffee, anywhere you want. I'll drive to LA if that's where you are. More listening. I love you too, baby girl. I never stopped. I'll see you Saturday. He hung up and just stood there, his back to them, his shoulders shaking. Maya ran to him, wrapping her arms around his waist from behind. She said yes. Reaper turned, dropping to one knee so he was eye level with her. His face was wet with tears, but he was smiling wider than Maya had ever seen. She said yes, coffee next Saturday. Just talking. No promises. But she's willing to try. I told you she would call back. You did. You were right. Reaper pulled Maya into a tight hug. This is because of you, you know. Sarah said she got my message, heard about what you did, and it made her think. Made her wonder if maybe I really was trying to change. You are changing. Because you showed me how. An 8-year-old kid showed me how to be brave. Carmen cleared her throat. Michael, would you like to stay for dinner? It's nothing fancy, just spaghetti and meatballs, but you're welcome. Reaper looked shocked. I couldn't impose. You're not imposing, I'm offering. Carmen's voice was firm. Maya saved your life. You're helping her see that courage has consequences, good ones. That's worth a plate of spaghetti. Then yes, thank you. I'd like that very much. Dinner was strange and wonderful. Reaper sat at their small kitchen table, looking massive and out of place among the cheerful yellow walls and flower curtains. But he complimented Carmen's cooking, helped Maya with her homework when she got stuck on a math problem, and told stories about the club that made them both laugh. So Whiskey Pete decides he's going to impress this girl by doing a wheelie, Reaper said, gesturing with his fork. Except he's had a few beers and his depth perception is shot. He pops the wheelie right into a fountain. Full submersion. The bike him everything. Maya giggled. Did the girl like it? She married him 35 years ago. She still brings it up every anniversary. That's actually kind of romantic, Carmen said. Don't tell Pete that. He maintains it was all part of his plan. After dinner, Reaper helped with dishes, despite Carmen's protests. Maya sat at the table working on an essay for school, but mostly just listening to the adults talk. Can I ask you something? Carmen said quietly. And you don't have to answer if you don't want to. Shoot. Why the hell's Angels? What made you join Baham? Reaper was quiet for a moment, scrubbing a plate with more focus than necessary. Brotherhood, family. I grew up in foster care, 7 different homes before I aged out at 18. Never had consistency. Never had people who stuck around. Then I met Bull at a garage where I was working. He brought me to a club meeting and it was like I finally found where I belonged. And Sarah's mother, Jennifer, met her at a rally. We were young stupid, thought we were in love. Had Sarah when I was 22. Tried to make it work, but I was too committed to the club and she needed stability. She was right to leave. I was a shit father back then. You're trying to be better now? Trying, no guarantees I'll succeed. The fact that you're trying is what matters. Carmen handed him another plate. My ex-husband Maya's father, he never tried, he just left. Sends a check every month, calls twice if we're lucky. Maya deserves better than that. She deserves the world. Yes, she does. Maya pretended to be absorbed in her essay, but her heart was full. This right here felt important. Her mother and Reaper talking like real people, not like a scared single mom and a dangerous biker. Just two adults trying to do right by the people they loved. Reaper left around 8, thanking them again for dinner. Before he went, he knelt beside Maya one more time. I'm seeing Sarah on Saturday, he said. Would you want to meet her? Maybe not that day, but someday soon. I think you'd like each other. Maya's eyes went wide. Really? Really? I'm going to tell her all about you, about how you saved me, how you made me believe in second chances. I'd love to meet her. Then it's a plan. He tousled her hair. Stay brave, little angel. Stay safe, Reaper. After he left, Maya got ready for bed, her mind racing with possibilities. Reaper was going to meet his daughter. He was going to try to fix what he'd broken. And maybe, just maybe, Maya would get to meet Sarah too. She was brushing her teeth when her mother appeared in the bathroom doorway. That was nice tonight, Carmen said. Maya spit out toothpaste. Yeah, Reaper's really nice when you get to know him. He is. I was wrong about bikers, I think. Or at least I was wrong to judge them all the same. Does that mean I can take guitar lessons from strings? Carmen laughed. We'll see. One thing at a time. Maya hugged her mother, toothbrush still in hand. Thank you for giving them a chance, for giving Reaper a chance. Thank you for showing me I needed to. Carmen kissed the top of her head. Now finish brushing and get to bed. School tomorrow. Maya climbed into bed, the angel patch pinned to her pajamas, and thought about how much had changed in 2 weeks. She'd gone from an ordinary 8-year-old to someone protected by 89 bikers. She'd helped a broken man find his way back to his daughter. She'd shown her mother that people weren't always what they seemed. The next morning at school, Maya noticed the whispers had started. That's her, she heard someone say, the girl with the bikers. By lunch, a crowd had gathered around her table. Is it true 89 Hell's Angels came to your house? A boy named Tommy asked. Maya nodded, suddenly shy. That's so cool. Are they scary? Did they give you a motorcycle? Can I see your patch? Maya showed them the angel patch on her backpack. The crowd pressed closer, everyone wanting to touch it to see it up close. Mrs. Henderson, her teacher, appeared. All right, everyone, give Maya some space. Back to your own tables. The crowd dispersed reluctantly. Mrs. Henderson sat down across from Maya. You've become quite popular, she said. I don't want to be popular. I just want things to be normal. I don't think things are going to be normal for a while, sweetie. What you did saving that man's life, that's extraordinary. People are going to want to talk about it. I just did what anyone would do. No, you did what most people wouldn't do. You saw someone in trouble and helped, even though it was scary and dangerous. That takes courage. Maya poked at her lunch. Everyone keeps saying that, but I was terrified the whole time. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite the fear. Mrs. Henderson smiled. I'm proud of you, Maya. We all are. The attention didn't stop. By the end of the day, Maya was exhausted from answering questions, from being stared at, from being treated like she was special instead of just Maya. She was relieved when she finally escaped to the sidewalk, ready for the walk home. A motorcycle was waiting. Not Reaper this time. Strings, the young biker with the guitar. Hey, little angel, he called. Your mom asked me to pick you up. She's stuck at work. Some emergency came up. Maya hesitated. Did she really? Strings pulled out his phone, showing her a text from Carmen. Really, she said to take you to Bull's house. She'll pick you up there in a couple hours. Bull's house? Yeah, his wife Maggie wants to meet you. She's been bugging him about it since the day we all showed up at your place. Maya climbed onto the bike behind Strings, accepting the spare helmet he offered. What's she like, Maggie? She's amazing, tough as nails but sweet as honey. You'll like her. The ride to Bull's house took 20 minutes winding through streets Maya didn't recognize until they pulled up to a modest ranch house with a well-kept lawn and flower beds. The front door opened before they had even stopped the bike. A woman emerged shorter than Maya expected with steel gray hair in a long braid and the warmest smile Maya had ever seen. She wore jeans and a flannel shirt, and her hands were covered in what looked like paint. "You must be Maya," she called out. "Come here, baby girl. Let me look at you." Maya climbed off the bike and approached shyly. Maggie pulled her into a hug that smelled like lavender and turpentine. "Oh, you're just as beautiful as Bull said. And so brave, come inside, come inside. I've got cookies in the oven and about a million questions." The house was warm and lived in with family photos covering every surface. Maggie led Maya to a kitchen filled with the smell of chocolate chip cookies. Sit, milk or juice?" "Milk, please." Maggie poured 2 glasses and sat across from Maya, studying her with kind, intelligent eyes. "So you're the little angel who saved Reaper's life." "I just did what I could." "Honey, you did what most grown men wouldn't do. You saw someone bleeding and broken, and you didn't run. You stayed." Maggie reached across the table, squeezing Maya's hand. "That tells me everything I need to know about your character." Bull said the same thing about character. "Bull's a smart man. That's why I married him, Mom." Maggie grinned. "Well, that and he looks damn good on a motorcycle." Maya giggled. "Can I tell you something, Maya?" "Something serious." Maya nodded. "When Bull told me what happened, how you saved Reaper, how the club wanted to protect you, my first thought was that you might be scared of us. Of all these big, loud bikers showing up at your door. Were you scared?" "A little," Maya admitted. "At first. But then they started talking to me and giving me gifts, and they were just nice. Really nice. That's because that's who they really are. Oh, they look tough. They sound tough. Some of them have done things they're not proud of. But at their core, they're just men who found a family in each other." Maggie pulled the cookies from the oven, sliding 3 onto a plate for Maya. "And now you're part of that family, which means you're my family too." "Really? Really? Bull's brothers are my brothers. Their families are my family. That's how it works." Maggie bit into a cookie, thinking, "How's your mama handling all this?" "She was scared at first too, but she's trying to understand. She even had Reaper over for dinner last night." Maggie's eyebrows shot up. "Did she now? Well, that's progress. Reaper's trying to reconnect with his daughter. He called her and she said yes to meeting him. I heard about that. Bull told me. It's wonderful." Maggie's expression grew tender. "Reaper's been lost for a long time. Maybe you found him just when he needed finding." They spent the next hour talking. Maggie showed Maya her art studio, a converted garage filled with paintings in various stages of completion. Bold, beautiful pieces full of color and life. "This is incredible," Maya breathed, staring at a painting of a motorcycle rendered in brilliant oranges and reds. "Thank you, honey. I sell them sometimes. Mostly I just paint because I love it." Maggie handed Maya a small canvas and a brush. "Want to try?" They painted together until Carmen arrived, looking harried and apologetic. "I'm so sorry I was late," Carmen said. "The crisis at work took forever to resolve." "Don't apologize," Maggie said warmly. "Maya and I had a wonderful time. She's welcome here anytime." Carmen looked at the small painting Maya had made, a simple angel with spreading wings. "That's beautiful, baby." "Maggie helped me." "She's a natural," Maggie said. "Carmen, do you have a minute? I wanted to talk to you about something." Carmen glanced at Maya, who took the hint and wandered back to the art studio, pretending to be absorbed in the paintings, while straining to hear the adults' conversation. "I know this is all overwhelming," Maggie said quietly. "Having the club in your life, having Maya connected to them." "It is," Carmen admitted, "but I want you to know you're not alone in this. I've been a biker's wife for 32 years. I know what it's like to love people who live outside normal society. I know the fears, the judgments, the complications. How do you handle it?" "By remembering that these men, my husband, his brothers, they're good people trying to live by their own code. They make mistakes, sure, but they also take care of their own. They show up when it matters. They keep their promises." Carmen was quiet for a moment. Maya's father never kept a single promise he made to her. Then she deserves to see what it looks like when someone does. Maggie's voice was gentle. "The club isn't perfect, but they're loyal. And now they're loyal to Maya. That's not a bad thing." "I'm starting to see that." "Good. And Carmen, If you ever need anything, advice, help, just someone to talk to who understands you, call me. Okay, okay, thank you. Maya pretended to be studying a painting when they called her back. The drive home was quiet, comfortable. Carmen seemed more relaxed than she'd been in days. Maggie's nice, Maya ventured. She is, very nice. Carmen glanced at her daughter. She invited us to a barbecue next month. The whole club will be there, families too. Can we go? Yeah, I think we can. Maya smiled out the window. Everything was changing, but it felt like changing in the right direction. Reaper was reconnecting with Sarah. Her mother was accepting the club. Maya had new friends, new family, new possibilities. Saturday came. Maya thought about Reaper all day, wondering how his meeting with Sarah was going. Hoping it was good. Praying it wasn't a disaster. Her phone rang at 4 in the afternoon. Bull's number. Hello, little angel, it's me. Reaper. His voice sounded strange, thick. Maya's stomach dropped. What's wrong? Did it go bad? No, God, no. It went... He broke off and Maya realized he was crying, happy crying. She's here with me, Sarah. We've been talking for 3 hours. She wants to meet you. Really? Really? Are you home? Can we come by? Yes, come over. Maya hung up and screamed for her mother. Mom, Reaper's coming with Sarah. They want to meet us. Carmen emerged from her bedroom, eyes wide. Now, they had 15 minutes of frantic cleaning, Carmen straightening cushions and hiding dirty dishes. Maya changing out of her paint-stained shirt into something nicer. Then the doorbell rang. Maya threw open the door. Reaper stood there looking happier than Maya had ever seen him. Beside him was a teenage girl with blonde hair and blue eyes just like his. She was tall, athletic, wearing ripping jeans and a band t-shirt, and she was smiling. Maya, Reaper said, his voice full of pride. This is my daughter, Sarah. Sarah stepped forward, extending her hand. Hi, my dad's told me a lot about you. Maya shook her hand, suddenly shy. Good things, I hope. The best things. Sarah's smile widened. He said you saved his life, that you stayed with him even though you were scared, that you made him promise to survive. He would have survived anyway. Maybe not. Sarah glanced at her father, her expression complex, love, hurt, hope, caution all mixed together. But you gave him a reason to fight, and you made him think about me, about trying to fix things, so thank you. You're welcome. They came inside. Carmen made coffee, and they all sat in the living room, cramped but cozy. Maya listened as Reaper and Sarah talked, sharing awkward but genuine conversation about the years they'd lost. Sarah told them about school, about wanting to study marine biology. Reaper told her about the club, about his accident, about therapy. I'm really trying, Sarah, Reaper said at one point. I know I can't make up for the lost time, but I want to be better. I want to be the father you deserve. I know. Sarah's voice was soft. I can see that you're trying. That's why I'm here. Can I keep calling, seeing you? Yeah, I'd like that. Reaper's eyes filled with tears again, and Sarah reached over, squeezing his hand. Maya felt her own throat tighten. This watching a broken relationship start to heal felt sacred, important. Sarah turned to Maya. Dad said you want to be a trauma surgeon. Yeah, I want to help people who get hurt. That's amazing. You're 8, and you already know what you want to be. I didn't figure it out until last year. Marine biology sounds cool too. It is. Sarah pulled out her phone. Want to see pictures of the dolphins I worked with at a rescue center last summer? They spent the next hour looking at photos, talking, laughing. Reaper and Carmen migrated to the kitchen, giving the girls space. Maya could hear their quiet conversations, something about therapy, about making amends, about hope. When Reaper and Sarah finally left, the sun was setting. Sarah hugged Maya goodbye. Thank you for saving my dad, she whispered. And thank you for giving me the courage to give him another chance. You would have done it anyway. Maybe, but you made it easier. After they left, Maya and Carmen stood in the doorway, watching them walk to Reaper's borrowed bike. That was good, Carmen said. Really good. Yeah. Maya leaned against her mother. Mom, I think everything's going to be okay. Yeah, baby. I think you're right. 3 months later, Maya's 9th birthday arrived on a Tuesday, and Carmen had planned a small celebration, just family, maybe a few kids from school, cake from the grocery store bakery. The Hells Angels had other ideas. Mom, there are motorcycles outside again. Maya called from her bedroom window Tuesday morning. A lot of them. Carmen rushed to look, her coffee mug still in hand. She counted at least 30 bikes in the parking lot, and more were arriving. It's 7 in the morning, Carmen said faintly, on a Tuesday. Maya's phone buzzed. A text from Bull. Happy birthday, little angel. Hope you're ready for a party. Oh no, Carmen said. Maya, what did you tell them about your birthday? Nothing, I swear. Well, maybe I mentioned it to Maggie last week, but I didn't think. A knock at the door interrupted her. Carmen opened it to find Bull Whiskey Pete and Maggie standing there with armfuls of presents and what looked like enough food to feed an army. Happy birthday, they chorused. You can't throw her a party on a Tuesday morning, Carmen protested. She has school. Called the school, Maggie said breezily, pushing past Carmen into the apartment. Told them it was a family emergency. You're both excused for the day. You can't just, that's not. Too late, Mama Bear. Bull grinned and the club voted. We're throwing Maya a birthday party. Proper one. Within 30 minutes, their small apartment was packed. Not all 89 bikers, that would have been impossible, but at least 40 plus their families. Kids ran everywhere. Someone had brought a sound system. The smell of grilling meat wafted up from the parking lot where several bikers had set up a barbecue. This is insane, Carmen whispered to Maggie. This is family, Maggie corrected. Get used to it. Maya stood in the center of the chaos, overwhelmed and delighted. Strings had brought his guitar and was teaching a group of kids a silly song. Chains was doing magic tricks that were more funny than impressive. Rosie was painting temporary tattoos on anyone who wanted one. Little Angel, Reaper's voice cut through the noise. He pushed through the crowd with Sarah right behind him. You came? Maya threw herself at them both. Wouldn't miss it, Sarah said, handing her a wrapped box. Dad and I picked this out together. Maya tore into the wrapping. Inside was a medical kit, a real one, professional grade with bandages, antiseptic gauze, everything. For the future trauma surgeon, Reaper said. Start practicing now. This is perfect. Maya hugged the kit to her chest. Thank you. There's more, Sarah said, pulling out a smaller box. This is just from me. Inside was a silver necklace with a small angel pendant. Simple, beautiful. So you always remember you're brave, Sarah said softly. Maya's eyes filled with tears. I love it. Help me put it on. Sarah fastened the necklace and Maya touched the pendant, feeling its weight against her chest. The party spilled out into the parking lot. Someone had hung a banner that read, Happy 9th birthday, little angel. A 3-tier cake appeared, chocolate with vanilla frosting, decorated with tiny motorcycles and angels. Where did this come from? Carmen demanded. Rosie's sister owns a bakery, Bull explained. She donated it, wouldn't take payment. This is too much. It's not enough. Bull's expression grew serious. Your daughter gave us back one of our brothers. She deserves to be celebrated. Maya spent the morning in a whirlwind of gifts, games, and laughter. She got books, art supplies, a new bike helmet with even more detailed custom painting, gift cards, stuffed animals, and a leather jacket small enough to actually fit her. This is from all of us, Whiskey Pete said, presenting the jacket. Real leather, real patches. You're official now. The back of the jacket read Little Angel in careful embroidery. On the front, over her heart, was the protected patch. Maya put it on immediately despite the warmth of the day. It was heavy and smelled like leather and possibility. I look cool, she announced. You look like family. Chains corrected. Around noon, Carmen pulled Maya aside. Are you happy, baby? This is the best birthday ever. Even better than last year when we went to the zoo. Way better. Last year I had 5 friends show up. This year I have 40. Maya paused. Are you okay with this, Mom? Really okay? Carmen looked out at the party, the bikers playing with their kids, Maggie organizing a game of musical chairs, Reaper teaching Sarah how to properly flip burgers. It was chaotic and loud and completely unlike anything she'd imagined for her daughter's 9th birthday. It was also full of love. Yeah, Carmen said, I'm really okay with this. The party lasted until almost 5. By the time the last biker left, Maya was exhausted but glowing. The apartment was a disaster of wrapping paper, empty plates, and gifts piled everywhere. I'll help clean tomorrow, Maya said, yawning. You better. Carmen was already gathering trash. Maya, can I ask you something? Do you ever regret it? Stopping to help Reaper that day. Maya thought about it seriously. No, never. Everything good that's happened came from that choice. I made a friend. I got a family. I helped fix something broken between Reaper and Sarah. Why would I regret that? Because it was dangerous, because it changed everything. Change isn't always bad, Mom. Carmen hugged her daughter tight. When did you get so wise? Grandma says, I know. Old soul. Carmen laughed. Get ready for bed. Even birthday girls need sleep. That night, wearing her new necklace and with her leather jacket hung carefully in her closet, Maya fell asleep thinking about how different her life was from a year ago, how much bigger her world had become. She didn't know that the biggest change was still coming. The call came on a Saturday morning, 2 weeks later. Carmen answered, her face going pale as she listened. What? She said sharply. When is she okay? Okay, we'll be right there. She hung up her hands, shaking. Mom. Maya's stomach twisted with anxiety. What's wrong? That was the hospital. It's Grandma. She had a stroke. We need to go now. The drive to the hospital felt endless. Carmen gripped the steering wheel so tight her knuckles turned white. Maya sat in the passenger seat, silent and scared, praying harder than she'd ever prayed in her life. Please let Grandma be okay. Please, please, please. They found her in the ICU, small and fragile in the hospital bed. Her right side was paralyzed, her speech slurred, but she was alive. Mama, Carmen choked out, taking her mother's hand. Okay, Grandma managed. Don't cry, Dee. But Carmen was already crying. Maya moved to her grandmother's other side, carefully taking her left hand, the one that still worked. Hi, Grandma. Sweet girl. Grandma's smile was lopsided but genuine. My Maya. The doctor came in explaining things Maya only half understood. Significant stroke, right side paralysis, speech therapy needed, long recovery, might regain some function, might not. She can't live alone anymore, the doctor said gently. She'll need constant care, at least initially. Carmen's face crumpled. We can't afford, our apartment is too small for, we'll figure it out, Maya said firmly, even though she had no idea how. They stayed at the hospital until visiting hours ended. On the drive home, Carmen was silent, tears streaming down her face. We'll make it work, Maya insisted. We have to. How I can barely afford our apartment as it is. If we get a bigger place to fit your grandmother, I'll need to work more hours, but I can't work more hours because someone needs to take care of her, and hiring help costs money we don't have. And Carmen pulled over her shoulders, shaking. I don't know what to do, Maya. I don't know how to fix this. Maya pulled out her phone. What are you doing? Calling Bull? Maya, no, we can't ask them for. But Maya had already dialed. Bull answered on the second ring. Little Angel, what's wrong? Maya explained everything. Grandma's stroke, the paralysis, the need for a bigger place, her mother's panic. She explained it calmly, clearly, even though her own heart was breaking. When she finished, Bull was quiet for a moment. Where are you? He asked. On the side of Route 9 near mile marker 52. Stay there. I'm coming. He hung up before Maya could respond. What did he say? Carmen asked. He's coming. Maya, we can't burden them with our problems. They've already done so much. Mom, their family. That's what Maggie said. That's what they all said. Family helps family. 15 minutes later, 3 motorcycles pulled up behind their car. Bull, Whiskey Pete, and Maggie on her own bike. Bull leaned down to Carmen's window. Tell me what you need. I can't ask you to. You're not asking, I'm offering. What do you need? Carmen looked at Maya, then back at Bull. A place big enough for 3 people. One with a bedroom on the ground floor for my mother. Medical equipment, a hospital bed, wheelchair walker. Someone to help during the day while I work. And I can't afford any of it. Bull pulled out his phone, making a call. Chains. Yeah, it's me. I need you to check our properties. What do we have available that's ground floor accessible, at least 3 bedrooms? A pause. The house on Maple, the one we've been using for storage. Yeah, that could work. Clear it out. Today. Another pause. I don't care if it's Saturday. Get a crew together. I want it ready by Monday. He hung up and made another call. Rosie, I need medical equipment. Hospital bed, wheelchair walker, whatever else. Someone recovering from a stroke needs. Can you source it? He listened. Great. Deliver to the Maple Street house. Monday morning. 2 more calls, one to arrange for a visiting nurse, one to a physical therapist. Carmen stared at him, speechless. The house is club property. But Bull explained. Been using it for storage, but it's fully furnished, 3 bedrooms, bathroom on the main floor. You can stay there as long as you need, no rent. I can't accept that. Yes, you can. Bull's tone left no room for argument. The nurse will come twice a day to help with your mother. Physical therapist 3 times a week. We're covering it. That's thousands of dollars. We take care of our own. Bull looked at Maya. Your daughter saved Reaper's life. You think we're going to let her grandmother suffer when we can help? Not happening. Carmen's face worked through about 17 emotions. Finally, she just said, thank you. Don't thank me. Thank Maya for being brave enough to call. Maggie leaned in. Honey, you're not alone in this. Whatever you need help moving someone to sit with your mama meals, anything, you call us, okay? Carmen nodded, unable to speak. They moved into the Maple Street house on Monday. The club had transformed it over the weekend. The storage boxes were gone. The house had been deep cleaned. Fresh paint brightened the walls. A hospital bed waited in the ground floor bedroom, along with all the medical equipment Grandma would need. This is too much, Carmen kept saying. This is family, Whiskey Pete kept responding. Grandma came home from the hospital on Wednesday. The visiting nurse, a kind woman named Diane who'd worked with stroke patients for 20 years, was already there waiting. Oh, good, Diane said cheerfully. You must be Mrs. Chen. I'm Diane. We're going to get you back on your feet. Half of them, Grandma joked, her speech already slightly clearer. Over the next weeks, the house became a hub of activity. Diane came twice daily. The physical therapist Marcus came 3 times a week and was relentlessly optimistic. Club members stopped by, constantly bringing meals, offering to sit with Grandma, so Carmen could run errands, helping Maya with homework. Reaper came every Tuesday, bringing Sarah with him. Sarah would read to Grandma while Reaper helped Carmen with household repairs. Your daughter's beautiful, Grandma told Reaper one afternoon, her speech improving daily. Smart too. Gets it from her mother, Reaper said. And brave, like our Maya. Definitely like our Maya. Strings started giving Maya guitar lessons in the living room. Grandma would listen from her bed, occasionally calling out corrections. You still know music? Strings asked, surprised. Played piano? 60 years. Grandma managed. Stroke didn't. Take that. Could you teach me some theory? I'm self-taught, never learned to read music properly. Deal. You teach Maya guitar. I teach you theory. It became a regular thing. Strings would come twice a week, and after Maya's lesson, he and Grandma would have theory sessions. She'd regained enough hand function to tap out rhythms on a small keyboard Bull had brought here. 6 weeks after the stroke, Grandma took her first steps with the walker. The whole house erupted in cheers. Maya cried. Carmen cried. Even Marcus, who'd seen hundreds of stroke patients, got misty-eyed. Told you, he said. Fighters recover faster. Where do you think Maya gets it? Grandma said, gripping the walker fiercely. That weekend, the club threw another party, a recovery celebration. Smaller than Maya's birthday, but no less joyful. They set up in the backyard of the Maple Street house, grilling and laughing and celebrating every step Grandma had taken. Bull pulled Maya aside at one point. You doing okay, little angel? Yeah, better than okay. Grandma's getting better. She is. Your mom seems happier too. She does. Maya looked over at Carmen, who was laughing at something Maggie said. She was so scared, but everyone helped. You all helped. That's what family does. Bull, can I ask you something? Shoot. Why do you do all this? I mean, I know I saved Reaper and you owe a debt. But this taking care of my grandma, giving us a house, all of it, that's more than a debt. That's love, babe. Bull finish and simply, we love you, Maya. You're one of ours now. When you hurt, we hurt. When you need help, we help. It's not complicated. It feels complicated. Only if you're not used to people showing up for you. Bull's expression grew serious. Your mom told Maggie that your dad left when you were 3, that he barely calls, that you've learned not to count on people. Maya looked down at her feet. We're teaching you different, Bull continued. We're teaching you that some people do show up. Some people keep their papayas. Some people stick around when things get hard. Like family. Exactly like family. Maya hugged him, this enormous man who'd shown up in her life because she'd been brave enough to help a stranger. Bull hugged her back, gentle, despite his size. Thank you, Maya whispered. Thank you, little angel, for reminding us why we do this, why the club matters. That night, after everyone had gone home and Grandma was asleep, Maya sat with her mother on the back porch. "This house is amazing," Carmen said. "I keep waiting for someone to tell me there's been a mistake, that we have to leave. Bull says we can stay as long as we want. That's what scares me. We're getting dependent on them. What if something changes? What if—" "Mom," Maya took her hand, "stop waiting for bad things to happen. They're not going to pull the rug out. They're not, Dad. They're different." Carmen's eyes filled. "How did you get so wise?" "I'm 9 now, practically ancient." Carmen laughed through her tears. "Yeah, ancient." They sat in comfortable silence watching stars appear in the darkening sky. "I got a promotion at work," Carmen said suddenly. "What, when?" "Last week. I didn't want to say anything until it was official, but my supervisor called today. I'm moving to a management position. 30% raise." Maya threw her arms around her mother. "That's amazing. It means I can start paying the club back. For the medical bills, the equipment, everything." "Mom, they don't want." "I know they don't want it, but I need to contribute. I need to feel like I'm not just taking." "You're not just taking, you're accepting help. There's a difference." Carmen pulled back, studying her daughter. "When did the student become the teacher?" "I had good examples." Maya touched her angel necklace. "Sarah told me something last week. She said her dad spent years too proud to ask for help, too stubborn to accept it when it was offered. And it cost him his relationship with her. She said, don't make his mistakes." "She's right." Carmen squeezed Maya's hand. "Okay, I'll accept the help without guilt, but I'm also going to contribute what I can." "That's fair." They went inside. Maya checked on Grandma, who was sleeping peacefully, her breathing even and strong. So different from those first terrifying days after the stroke. Maya got ready for bed, pulling on her pajamas and pinning her angel patch to her shirt. She looked at herself in the mirror, 9 years old, wearing a patch that symbolized protection from a motorcycle club, living in a house provided by bikers, surrounded by a family she'd found by being brave. Her phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. "Dad wanted me to tell you he's 6 months sober as of today. Says he couldn't have done it without you." Maya's heart swelled. She texted back, "He did it himself. I just believed in him." Sometimes that's all someone needs, someone to believe. Maya thought about that as she climbed into bed, about how believing in people could change them, how showing up could save them, how courage wasn't just about the big moments, stopping to help a bleeding stranger, but also the small ones. Making a phone call when your grandmother had a stroke, accepting help when you needed it, choosing to trust people who looked different from you. She fell asleep with the angel pendant cool against her chest, and Grandma's improved voice echoing in her memory. "Fighters recover faster." Maya was a fighter, so was Grandma, so was Reaper, working through his sobriety and rebuilding his relationship with Sarah. So was Carmen, learning to accept help and trust again. They were all fighters, and they were all going to be okay. The next morning, Maya woke to the sound of laughter downstairs. She patted down in her pajamas to find Chains in the kitchen with Grandma teaching her a card trick. "Morning, little angel," Chains said. "Your grandma's got quick hands. Stroke didn't slow her down much." "Still got it," Grandma said proudly, making a card appear from behind Maya's ear. "How did you do that, magic?" Grandma winked. Carmen emerged from her bedroom, already dressed for work. "Chains, you're here early. Figured I'd make breakfast. Got a feeling it's going to be a good day." He gestured to the stove where pancakes were already cooking. And it was a good day. It was a very good day. 4 years passed like pages turning in a book Maya would never forget. She was 13 now, standing in front of her middle school auditorium, her hands shaking as she gripped the podium. The entire 8th grade sat before her, along with teachers, parents, and, in the back row, Bull Whiskey, Pete Maggie Reaper, and Sarah. Her leather jacket hung on a chair backstage. The angel pendant rested against her throat. "Courage," Maya began, her voice wavering before steadying, "isn't what most people think it is." She'd been asked to give a speech for the school's Character Education Assembly. When Principal Morrison had approached her 2 weeks ago, Maya's first instinct had been to say no. But Carmen had encouraged her. So had Grandma, who was now walking with just a cane and spoke almost perfectly. Most people think courage means not being afraid, that brave people don't feel fear. But that's wrong. Maya looked out at the sea of faces. Courage is being absolutely terrified and doing the right thing anyway. She told them about that day on Route 9, about finding Reaper bleeding, about her mother's warnings echoing in her head, about making the choice to stay. She told them about the fear, the very real overwhelming fear, and how she'd pushed through it. I was 8 years old and I thought he was going to die in front of me. I thought I wasn't strong enough, smart enough, brave enough to help, but I stayed anyway. And that choice changed everything. Someone in the third row was crying. Maya pressed on. Reaper survived because I didn't let fear win. But the story doesn't end there. The Hells Angels, yeah, the motorcycle club, they showed up at my apartment the next day. All 89 of them, and I was terrified all over again. Nervous laughter rippled through the audience. My mom was terrified too. We'd both been taught to fear people like them, to cross the street and avoid eye contact, assume the worst. But we made another brave choice. We listened, we gave them a chance, and we learned that people aren't always what they appear to be. She talked about the club becoming family, about how they'd helped when Grandma had her stroke, how they'd given them a home, how they'd shown up again and again. She talked about Reaper reconnecting with his daughter, about Sarah becoming like a big sister. I learned that courage isn't one big moment. It's 1,000 small choices. It's choosing to help when it's easier to walk away. Choosing to trust when you have been hurt before. Choosing to see people for who they really are instead of what you assume. Maya's voice grew stronger. 4 years ago, I made a choice that scared me. I've been making scary choices ever since, and every single one has made my life bigger, richer, fuller. So I'm asking you, all of you, when you're faced with a choice between fear and courage, choose courage. Every time. Because you never know whose life you might save, including your own. The applause started slowly, then built like a wave. Students stood, teachers stood. In the back, the bikers were on their feet, Bull wiping his eyes unashamedly. Maya stepped away from the podium, her legs shaky, her heart pounding. She'd done it. She'd told her story. Principal Morrison hugged her. That was extraordinary, Maya, truly extraordinary. After the assembly, Maya found the club waiting for her outside. Little angel, Reaper said, pulling her into a hug. That was incredible. You made me cry, Whiskey Pete complained. In front of everyone, my tough guy reputation is ruined. Your reputation was ruined when you cried at the Toy Story movie, Maggie teased. Sarah squeezed Maya's hand. I'm so proud of you. You told the truth, the real truth about what courage looks like. Did I do okay, Bo? Maya asked. You did perfect, Bull said firmly. You honored the club, honored yourself, and gave those kids something to think about. That's all anyone can ask. They took Maya out for ice cream to celebrate. Sitting in the booth at their favorite diner, surrounded by her chosen family, Maya felt something settle in her chest. A sense of rightness, of belonging. So, Reaper said, stirring his coffee, Sarah and I have news. Everyone looked up. Sarah grinned. Dad's moving to LA. We're going to try living in the same city again. Maya's jaw dropped. Really? Really? Reaper confirmed. I've been commuting to see her every weekend for 4 years. Time to make it permanent. Found an apartment near her college. She's starting marine biology at UCLA next fall. This is amazing. Maya threw her arms around both of them. It's terrifying, Reaper admitted. What if I screw it up again? You won't, Sarah said confidently. You're different now, Dad. We're different. We're going to make this work. Bull raised his coffee cup. To second chances. They all clinked glasses, coffee soda, melted ice cream. Speaking of second chances, Whiskey Pete said, looking at Maya, you still planning on becoming a trauma surgeon? Absolutely. Why? Because I know a doctor at County Hospital, Dr. Patel. She runs a youth program for kids interested in medicine. Lets them shadow learn procedures, see what it's really like. Thought you might be interested. Maya's eyes went wide. Are you serious? Dead serious. You saved Reaper with basic first aid and pure guts. Imagine what you could do with real training. I want to do it. Mom, can I? Carmen, who joined them after work, smiled. If Dr. Patel will have you, absolutely. I'll set it up, Whiskey Pete promised. The following Saturday, Maya found herself at County Hospital wearing scrubs that were too big and a visitor badge that read Student Observer. Dr. Patel was a tiny woman with sharp eyes and a sharper wit. So you're the girl who saved a Hell's Angel with a denim jacket and sheer willpower, Dr. Patel said. Yes, ma'am. Impressive. Most adults would have panicked. What made you stay calm? I wasn't calm. I was terrified, but he needed help, and I was the only one there. Dr. Patel studied her. Good answer. Medicine isn't about not being scared. It's about functioning despite the fear. Can you handle blood? I held pressure on a head wound for 20 minutes when I was 8. I can handle blood. Then let's see what you're made of. Maya shadowed Dr. Patel every Saturday for the next 6 months. She watched surgeries, learned to take vitals, practiced suturing on pigskin, studied anatomy. Dr. Patel was demanding but patient, pushing Maya to think critically, to stay calm under pressure, to never stop learning. You're good at this, Dr. Patel said one day, watching Maya successfully insert an IV into a training arm. Really good. Have you thought about medical school? I'm 13. I mean long term, you've got the hands for surgery, the temperament too. You don't panic. I panic on the inside. That's fine, as long as your hands stay steady. Dr. Patel smiled. Keep working hard, Maya. You've got a real future in this. At home, life had settled into a comfortable rhythm. Grandma was back to about 80% of her pre-stroke function. She walked with a cane, her speech occasionally slurred when she was tired, but she was independent and happy. She started teaching piano lessons from the house, her students, a mix of club members, kids, and neighborhood children. Carmen's promotion had led to another one. She was now a director at her company, making more money than she'd ever dreamed. She'd tried repeatedly to pay the club back for the medical expenses and the house. Bull had refused every time. This house was sitting empty, he'd said. You're using it, that's payment enough. But the medical bills were covered by the club's emergency fund. That's what it's for, family emergencies. Carmen had finally stopped arguing and instead started contributing in other ways. She organized fundraisers for the club's charity events. She helped Maggie with bookkeeping. She became part of the fabric of the club family. Maya's 13th birthday party was unsurprisingly huge. The club had declared it a tradition every year they'd throw Maya a party. This year, they'd rented out a community center and invited everyone. This is too much, Maya had protested. You're 13, Maggie had said. You're officially a teenager. That deserves celebrating. The party was perfect. Dancing, food, games, and a cake shaped like a motorcycle. Reaper and Sarah drove up from LA. Even some of Maya's school friends came, initially nervous around the bikers, but quickly won over by Chains' magic tricks and Strings' guitar playing. Tommy, who'd asked about the bikers 4 years ago, approached Maya during the party. This is the coolest birthday party I've ever been to, he said. Thanks. Can I ask you something about your speech? The one at school? Sure. You said courage is choosing to see people for who they really are. Did you really not know the Hells Angels were good people when you helped Reaper? Maya thought about it. I didn't know anything about them except what I'd been told, that they were dangerous. But Reaper was hurt and alone and scared. That's what I saw. A person who needed help. Everything else came later. So you didn't think about who he was, you just thought about what he needed. Exactly. Tommy nodded slowly. That's really cool. I want to be like that. See people instead of labels. You can be. It's just a choice. A brave choice. All the good ones are. Later, when most of the guests had left, Maya found herself sitting with the core group: Bull, Whiskey, Pete, Maggie, Reaper, Sarah, and her family. 13 years old, Bull mused. Where does the time go? I remember when you were this tiny thing pressing a jacket against my head, Reaper said. Now look at you, practically grown. I'm not grown, Maya protested. You're getting there, Sarah said. High school next year, driver's license in a few years, college after that. Don't rush her, Carmen said, but she was smiling. I'm not rushing anywhere, Maya said. I like where I am. Good, Grandma said, her speech clear and strong. Enjoy every moment. Life moves fast enough and without hurrying it along. They sat in comfortable silence for a while until Whiskey Pete spoke up. You know what amazes me? How one choice, one brave choice by an 8-year-old changed so many lives. How do you mean? Maya asked. Well, you saved Reaper's life. That's obvious. But you also gave him the push to reconnect with Sarah. That changed both their lives. You brought your family into our world, changed how your mom sees people, gave us all a reminder of why the club matters. You inspired other people to be braver. And you're going to be a doctor, probably save hundreds more lives. All because you stopped on Route 9 that day. I just did what felt right. That's my point. You didn't overthink it. You saw someone who needed help and helped. Simple as that. It wasn't simple, Maya said. I was terrified. But you did it anyway, Bull said. That's the definition of courage, little angel. Reaper cleared his throat. I want to say something, if that's okay. Everyone turned to him. I've been sober for 4 years now. 4 years since the accident. I'm rebuilding my relationship with my daughter. I'm in therapy dealing with my issues. I've got a job I actually like. And none of it would have happened if Maya hadn't stopped that day. His voice thickened. She saved my life twice. Once on that road, and once when she made me promise to survive. Because that promise made me want to do more than just survive. It made me want to live, really live. Sarah was crying, so was Maggie. Even Bull looked misty-eyed. Thank you, Reaper said, simply looking at Maya, for everything. Maya hugged him, this man who'd become like family, who'd shown her that people could change, that second chance were real. Thank you for keeping your promise, she whispered. The next Monday, Maya started high school. It was terrifying in a completely different way. Bigger school order classes, social pressures she'd never experienced in middle school. But she wore her angel necklace. And on tough days, she wore her leather jacket. People noticed. Of course they noticed. Is that a real Hell's Angels jacket? Someone asked in the hallway. Sort of. I'm protected by them, not a member. That's so cool. How did you? Maya was getting used to telling the story. It got easier each time, though it never stopped meaning something. By October, she'd settled into a routine. School homework, Saturday shadowing at the hospital, Sunday dinners with the club. Sarah came home from UCLA once a month, always making time to hang out with Maya. Reaper visited even more often now that he lived closer. How's college? Maya asked Sarah one Sunday. Hard, amazing, exhausting, perfect. Sarah grinned. I'm learning so much about marine ecosystems. Next semester, I get to do field work, actually go out on research vessels. That's incredible. What about you? How's high school treating you? It's okay. Some kids are jerks, but most are fine. My teachers are good. I'm taking advanced biology. Of course you are. Future doctor. They were sitting on the back porch of the Maple Street house, watching Grandma work with one of her piano students inside. Can I tell you something? Sarah said quietly. Always. I was so angry at my dad for so long. Like furiously angry. He missed my childhood. He chose motorcycles and his club brothers over me. And when he called after the accident, my first instinct was to ignore it. But you didn't. Because of you. Because he told me about this 8-year-old who saved his life and made him want to be better. And I thought if a kid that young could be that brave, maybe I could be brave too. Brave enough to give him another chance. Maya's throat tightened. I didn't know that. It's true, you saved my dad's life. But you also saved our relationship. You gave me my father back. Sarah squeezed Maya's hand. I'll never forget that. He did the hard work. He got sober, went to therapy, showed up consistently. That was all him. But you were the spark, the catalyst. Sarah smiled. Never underestimate the power of showing up for someone. That winter, Dr. Patel approached Maya with an opportunity. There's a medical conference in San Francisco next month. High school students interested in medicine, doctors giving talks about different specialties, hands-on workshops. I think you should go. Really, I'll sponsor you. The club can cover the costs. I already asked Bull. You asked Bull. Of course, he called me last month, wanted to know how you were doing, if there was anything you needed. I told him about the conference. He said to sign you up immediately. Maya laughed. That sounds like Bull. The conference was incredible. Maya attended lectures on trauma surgery, emergency medicine, pediatrics. She practiced intubation on mannequins, learned to read EKGs, discussed ethical dilemmas with other students. On the last day during a trauma surgery demonstration, the presenter asked for a volunteer. Maya's hand shot up before she could second-guess herself. She found herself at the front of the room, gloved and gowned, following the surgeon's instructions to assist with a simulated procedure on a high-fidelity mannequin. Excellent hand control, the surgeon commented. Have you done this before? Just practiced at home, on pigskin. Well, you're a natural. Keep pursuing this. Flying home, Maya felt something crystallize inside her. This was her path. This was what she was meant to do. Help people when they were broken, when they were scared, when they needed someone to show up and refuse to leave. just like she'd done on Route 9 5 years ago. High school continued. Maya joined the school's first aid team, became president of the pre-med club, volunteered at the hospital. She maintained straight A's while somehow finding time for guitar lessons with strings and Sunday dinners with the club. "You're going to burn out," Carmen warned. "I'm doing what I love," Maya countered. "That's not burning out. That's living." "When did you get so wise?" Maya grinned. "Grandma says, I know, old soul." At 15, Maya got her learner's permit. Bull insisted on teaching her to drive. "You trust me with a car?" Maya asked. "You stayed calm while a man bled out in front of you at age 8. I think you can handle a Honda Civic." He was patient and encouraging even when Maya accidentally drove over a curb. Twice. "Everyone hits curbs at first," he assured her. "You should have seen me when I was learning. Took out my dad's mailbox, the neighbor's fence, and a fire hydrant, all in 1 week." Maya laughed so hard she had to pull over. By 16, she had her license and a used car, a gift from the club for her birthday. "This is too much," Maya protested, staring at the little blue sedan with a bow on it. "This is family," Bull said, "and we take care of family." That phrase had become something of a mantra. Whenever anyone protested the club's generosity, whether it was Carmen trying to pay rent, Grandma insisting she could afford her own medical equipment, or Maya saying gifts were too expensive, the response was always the same. "This is family. We take care of family." Maya's junior year of high school, she gave another speech. This time for a community event about youth leadership. She stood at the podium, 17 now, confident in a way her 8-year-old self could never have imagined. "9 years ago, I made a choice that changed my life," she began. "I was 8 years old walking home from school when I witnessed a motorcycle accident. The rider was badly injured, bleeding, alone, and I had a choice: keep walking or stop to help." She told the same story she'd told dozens of times, but it never got old. Because the story wasn't just about that one day. It was about everything that came after. That choice led to 89 bikers showing up at my door. It led to a family I never knew I needed. It led to my grandmother getting world-class care when she had a stroke. It led to a man reconnecting with his estranged daughter. It led to me discovering my passion for medicine. Maya paused, looking out at the audience. She spotted the club in the back, older now, some with gray in their beards, but still showing up. Still family. One choice, one moment of courage, and my whole life changed. So I'm telling you, especially the young people here, your choices matter. The brave ones, the scary ones, the ones that make your hands shake and your heart pound. Those are the choices that build the life you're meant to live. The applause was thunderous. But what Maya remembered most was what happened after. A young boy, maybe 9 or 10, approached her. "I want to be brave like you," he said shyly. Maya knelt down to his level. "You already are. You came up here to talk to me, didn't you? That's brave." Really, courage isn't about not being scared. It's about doing things even when you are scared. Remember that. The boy nodded seriously, then ran back to his parents. Reaper appeared at Maya's elbow. "That was beautiful. The speech and what you just told that kid. Just passing along what I've learned. From us, from everyone, from you, from Bull, from my mom, from Grandma, from Sarah. You all taught me what courage really looks like. Pretty sure you taught us, little angel." Senior year arrived in a blur of college applications, AP exams, and hospital shifts. Maya had been shadowing Dr. Patel for 4 years now, and the doctor had become a mentor and friend. "You're ready," Dr. Patel said one Saturday. "For medical school, I mean. Obviously, you have to finish college first, but you've got what it takes." "You really think so?" "I know so. You're smart, dedicated, calm under pressure, and you genuinely care about people. That's what makes a great doctor." Maya's college acceptation letters started arriving in March. She got into 7 schools. But the one that made her cry was UCLA, the same school where Sarah had studied marine biology. "I got in, Mom," Maya told Sarah over video chat. "I knew you would. This is amazing. We can be in the same city again." "Well, you'll be in grad school by then, but still, this is perfect." At graduation, Maya wore her angel necklace under her gown. Her leather jacket hung in her locker, too hot for the June ceremony, but present in spirit. She was valedictorian, of course. Standing at the podium for her graduation speech, looking out at her classmates and their families, Maya felt the weight of the moment. This was the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. We've been told our whole lives that we're the future, Maya began, that someday we'll change the world. But I'm here to tell you that someday is now. We don't have to wait to make a difference. She told them about Route 9, about an 8-year-old's choice, about how change doesn't wait for you to be ready. It asks you to be brave right now in this moment with what you have. I'm going to UCLA to study pre-med. I'm going to become a trauma surgeon. And every single patient I help will be because 9 years ago I chose courage over fear. I chose to see a person who needed help instead of a stranger I'd been taught to avoid. I chose to believe in second chances, in redemption, in the goodness of people who society told me were dangerous. Her voice grew stronger. So here's my challenge to you, class of 2026. Don't wait to be brave. Don't wait to be kind. Don't wait to make the choice that scares you. Do it now, today, tomorrow, every day after that. Because the world doesn't need us to be perfect. It needs us to show up, to try, to choose courage again and again, especially when it's hard. The applause shook the rafters. Maya stepped down from the podium into a sea of congratulations and hugs. But she pushed through the crowd to the back where the club was waiting. Bull pulled her into a bear hug. Proud of you, little angel, so damn proud. I wouldn't be here without all of you. Sure you would. You've always been brave. We just gave you opportunities to prove it. Reaper was there with Sarah, both of them beaming. Sarah had finished her master's degree and was starting a PhD program. Reaper had been sober for 9 years and was now a sponsor for other men trying to get clean. My dad and I have been talking, Sarah said. We want you to know something. What? You didn't just save his life that day. You saved mine too, because I got my father back. I got to know him as the person he became, not just the person he was. That's a gift I'll never be able to repay. Maya hugged them both. You don't have to repay it. You just have to keep showing up for each other. That's enough. That summer before college started, the club threw one last party. Not for a birthday or a graduation, but just because. Because they were family and family celebrated together. They gathered at the Maple Street house, the house that had been a refuge, a home, a symbol of everything the club stood for. Grandma played piano while people sang. Kids ran around the yard. Food covered every surface. Maya stood on the porch watching it all, feeling overwhelmingly grateful. Carmen came up beside Bjorn, thinking deep thoughts. Just remembering. That day on Route 9, how scared I was. How I almost walked past him. But you didn't. But I didn't. Maya smiled. Best decision I ever made. Mine too, Carmen said softly. Letting them into our lives. Trusting them. It saved us in ways I didn't even know we needed saving. They stood together, mother and daughter, watching their chosen family celebrate life. Bull called for everyone's attention. Got something to say before we eat. The crowd quieted. 9 years ago, a little girl named Maya Rodriguez stopped to help one of our brothers when he was dying on the side of the road. She was 8 years old, scared out of her mind, but she stayed. She saved Reaper's life. And in doing so, she saved something in all of us, too. He paused, his voice thick with emotion. She reminded us why we formed this club in the first place. Not to be outlaws or rebels or whatever society thinks we are, but to be family, to show up for each other, to keep our promises, to choose courage over fear every single time. Bull looked directly at Maya. Little angel, you're heading off to college next month. You're going to do incredible things. You're going to save lives just like you saved Reapers. But I want you to remember something. You'll always have a home here. You'll always have 89 brothers and sisters who will show up for you, no questions asked, because that's what family does. Maya's vision blurred with tears. We love you, Maya. Thank you for being brave enough to help a stranger. Thank you for teaching us to be better. Thank you for being exactly who you are. The club erupted in cheers. Someone started a chant, "Little angel, little angel." Maya laughed through her tears, accepting hugs from every direction. Later, as the sun set and the party wound down, Maya found herself sitting with Reaper one last time before college. You nervous? He asked. Terrified, Maya admitted. Good. Means you're doing something that matters. Did you ever think that day on Route 9 that we'd end up here, that saving your life would lead to all this? Reaper shook his head. I thought I was going to die alone on that road. Instead, I got a second chance at life, at being a father, at being the person I was meant to be. All because an 8-year-old girl was braver than most adults I've known. I just did what felt right. That's what makes you special. You always do what feels right, consequences be damned. Maya looked out at the party at her mother laughing with Maggie, at Grandma teaching a new student at Sarah, and the other young people sharing stories at Bull and Whiskey Pete arguing good-naturedly about something. This was family. This was love. This was what happened when you chose courage. Reaper, Maya said quietly. Yeah, little angel. Thank you for keeping your promise, for surviving, for becoming the person Sarah needed, for showing me that people can change. Thank you for believing I could. Reaper squeezed her shoulder. Now go to UCLA, become that trauma surgeon, save more lives, but always remember you've already changed the world. You changed mine. As the stars came out and the celebration continued, Maya understood something profound. That day on Route 9, she hadn't just saved a man's life. She discovered who she was meant to be, not despite her fear, but because of her choice to act despite it. She'd learned that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to love bigger than your fear, to help before you question, to trust before you judge, to show up before you're ready. She'd learned that family isn't just blood, it's the people who show up, keep promises, and choose you again and again. She'd learned that one brave choice can ripple out in ways you'll never fully understand, touching lives you'll never meet, changing futures you'll never see. And most importantly, she'd learned that being brave isn't about being fearless. It's about being afraid and choosing to act anyway because someone needs you, because it's right. Because courage is a choice you make moment by moment, day by day, for the rest of your life. Maya Rodriguez was 13 when she told her school that courage was choosing to do the right thing despite fear. At 18, about to start her journey to becoming a trauma surgeon, she understood that courage wasn't just a choice, it was a way of life. And she chose it every single day, just like she'd chosen it on Route 9 when she was 8 years old, kneeling beside a bleeding stranger and refusing to let him die alone.